Good morning, welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Thursday, May 17, 2012. The big Australian insurance operation, Insurance Australia Group, has announced that it is willing to sell all or part of its current Lloyd's operation, Equity Red Star. They've indicated that they believe that now would be a good time to get out of the marketplace. This is in fact somewhat validated by the fact that in the second half of last year they lost $5 million, which was pretty good compared to having lost $121 million in the second half of 2010. This is now official. The new French Prime Minister Moscovici has announced that France will not ratify the pact that Nicolas Sarkozy agreed to in March of this year. This would be the European Union's pact on fiscal discipline. The French have indicated that they will not ratify it unless the treaty is substantially amended to include commitments to promote economic growth. This, of course, is all the new French president's economic policy that got him elected. The Lloyd's syndicate Amelin has increased gross written premium by 10.5% over the first 4 months of the year, up to about £1.4 billion. They say that trading conditions, i.e. premium pricing, have become considerably more encouraging. They have seen premium increases of on average 4.3% in all their renewing business. Fitch Ratings has said that Lloyd's new commitment to expand into emerging markets is certainly a net positive, although they warn that such locations traditionally have much less data available to be analyzed. So as a result, underwriting practices can be affected by the lack of experience. Fitch points to, of course, the recent tumult and tremendous losses caused by the Thai floods, which, by the way, in fact, are still going on. Thai flood losses on the Japanese big three insurers have deteriorated even further. It seems now as if Tokyo Marine and MSA&D and NKSJ, the big three, which have collectively announced losses of $5.8 billion US from the Thai floods, are going to disclose new details later this week on increased gross losses for Thailand. Speaking of Japan, the Japanese Diet, or Parliament, has indicated that they may, in fact, later this month provide sovereign insurance to Japanese tanker operators to import Iranian crude oil. This is a way to get around the July 1st shutdown of European insurance operations, mainly coming out of Lloyd's, as a result of the embargo imposed by the United States and the other Western powers. There was an explosion this morning in Nigeria in the oil hub city of Port Harcourt down in the south. One person was killed. It occurred in an area where headquarters of many oil companies are located. This is in the southern part of the country. Boko Haram has been active in the northern part of the country, but the south traditionally has been the domain of the terrorist group Manmade, which in fact part of a 2009 amnesty deal with the Nigerian government, has been relatively quiet, so it's unknown who this is. Speaking of Africa, the U.S. Army has announced that it is going to assign a combat brigade to the continent in order to manifest President Obama's greater priority for the African continent, and it corresponds to a perception of an increased threat to the United States from the region. The Wall Street Journal is reporting today on its front page, finally, perhaps what might have been the casus belli for the very quick demise of the former Chinese leader Bo Xilai, I should say. Apparently, according to the journal, Mr. Xilai visited a military complex just before he was fired by the Chinese Politburo. It's interesting because the military complex he visited was a headquarters for a group of the Army, actually a division that had been led by his father, who was a Chinese revolutionary leader. There's a statue of his father in the barracks. Mr. Bo was in severe trouble at the time. He had just fired his police lieutenant. His chief associate had taken refuge in the U.S. consulate, and his wife was soon to be brought up on charges for having killed a British businessman. When he visited the military base, the Chinese Politburo became very, very nervous. The People's Liberation Army in China traditionally responds to the Central Committee, period. The fact that somebody on their own was going to speak to a faction, so thought the Politburo, could in fact propel rumors for a coup. In fact, combined with Mr. Xilai's popularity in the Chongqing area, it really was the fire that caused the explosion to go. In fact, after Mr. Bo's visit to the area, there were unconfirmed reports in Beijing of gunshots and an increased military presence in the city, as some speculated that a military coup was underway. In China, the relationship between the army and the Communist Party is sacrosanct, and to have somebody possibly go around that is what caused the problem. That's the news for today. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.